Hello kids! Welcome to Science 4, Quarter 1, Week 4. I'm Teacher Jessa, your science teacher.
Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Teacher Jessa TV, where learning is fun and exciting. Hello kids! This is our learning competencies. At the end of the lesson, we should be able to describe changes in properties of materials when exposed to certain changes in temperature, such as changes when wood or coal is burned. Lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe changes in matter that involves physical change and chemical change. Investigate to show how changes in properties of materials occur when one is exposed to very high or very low temperatures. And number 3, cite situations where phase change is beneficial. Before we start, let us have first a review. A review about states of matter. Are you ready, kids? Let us have the first one. Solid. Solid has definite shape and volume. It has particles that are packed closely together and usually arranged in a regular pattern. Mug or cup, shirt, book, and eraser are some of the examples of solid. Liquid. Liquid has definite volume but has no fixed shape. It has particles that can move and are in close contact. Syrup, shampoo, olive oil, and orange juice are some of the examples of liquid. Gas has no definite volume and shape. Has particles that are wildly separated. Helium in a balloon, steam from a kettle, argon in a tank, and nitrogen in a tank are some of the examples of gases. The fourth state of the matter is plasma. Plasma has no definite volume and shape. It has charged particles that are wildly separated. The fourth state, thunder, firewall, flame, and comet's tail are some of the examples of plasma. To sum up, let us read the following. Solid has particles that are packed closely together. Liquid has particles that can move and are in close contact. Gas has particles that are wildly separated. And plasma has charged particles that are wildly separated. Please get a plain sheet of paper and try to answer this activity. Today is our day 1, and we will learn about physical change. Let us have first the unlocking content area vocabulary. Before we start, let us read first the direction. We arrange the letters to create a word corresponding to the word given by the teacher. So let me read the meaning. It is to make or become different. So this is the first unscrambled word. Let me see if you know the answer. Correct, kids. The answer is change. For the second, it is a measure of how hot or cold something is. This is our second unscrambled word. Let me see if you know it, kids. Great. The answer is temperature. For the third unscrambled word, with a meaning, it is a type of food with a limited shelf life if it's not refrigerated. What do you think is the answer, kid? Great job! The answer is perishable. For the third one, it is a process in which one or more substances, the reactants, are converted to one or more different substances and its products. What do you think is the answer? It's a big check. Chemical reaction. It is the chemical reaction that occurs between substances when material is burned. What do you think is the unscrambled word? Great job, kids! The answer is combustion. Now let us go to physical change. Melting is a process where a solid turns into a liquid when it gets warm enough. And something melts, becomes soft, and turns into a liquid. For example, when ice cream melts, it becomes liquid instead of being hard like ice. Let us know the 3 examples of melting. The first one is ice melting. One common example of melting is when ice cubes are left outside on a warm Sunday. As the sun shines on them or the temperature gets warmer, the ice cube starts to melt and turn into water. The second is chocolate melting. Another example is when you heat chocolate in a microwave or over a stove. The solid chocolate turns into a liquid, making it easier to spread or use for making desserts like chocolate-covered strawberries and others. The third one is candle wax melting. When you light the candle, the heat from the flame melts the wax. The melted wax then drips down the candle, creating a pool of liquid wax fuels the flame. Remember kids, understanding melting helps us understand how things change from solid to liquid when they get warm. This process is useful in our daily lives, whether we're cooking, playing, or even recycling. We have here some real-life applications and uses. Cooking, making popsicles, recycling, arts, and crafts. Now let us learn about evaporation. So evaporation is when the liquid turns into a gas. So this happens when the liquid gets warm enough and its molecules move so fast that they escape into the air as vapor. You can think of it like tiny visible water particles flying away from puddle, a cup of water, or even wet clothes when they left out to dry. Kids, always remember that understanding evaporation helps us know how water moves from one place to another. It changes form and even helps make some of the things we use every day. We have here some of the examples of how evaporation works. The first one is drying clothes. So after washing your clothes, you hang them outside to dry. As the sun shines on them and the air around them gets warm, the water on the clothes evaporates and then they become dry. The second one is the puddles disappearing. So after it rains, you might notice that puddles on the ground disappear even if it's not sunny. This happens because the water in the puddles slowly evaporates into the air. And the last one is the steam from boiling water. So when you heat water on a stove to make a tea or cook pasta, steam rises from the pot. This steam is water vapor, formed because the water is evaporating. So for the real-life application and uses, we have swimming pool evaporation. Have you ever noticed that a swimming pool gets lower over time, even if nobody takes water out? This is because water evaporates from the surface of the pool, especially on hot days. That is why sometimes we need to add more water to the pool. Drying wet surfaces. If you spill water on the kitchen counter or the bathroom floor, you can wipe it up with a towel. But what happens if you leave it there? Eventually, the water disappears or evaporates and the surface becomes dry again. And last is the water cycle. So evaporation is a crucial part of the water cycle. When the sun heats up bodies of water like ocean, rivers, and lakes, water evaporates into the air. This water vapor rises, cools down, and forms clouds. Later, when the cloud gets heavy with water, it falls back to the ground as rain, snow, or hail. Another form of physical change is freezing. Freezing occurs when a liquid turns into a solid when it gets cold enough. Imagine water turning into ice when it's left in the freezer or outside a cold winter day. The cold slows down the molecules in the liquid, making them stick together and form a solid. We have here examples of freezing. The first one is making ice cube. So one example of freezing is to make ice cube. You pour water into an ice cube tray and you put it in the freezer. The water freezes and turns into solid ice cube as the water gets cold. The second one is the freezing popsicles. So when you make popsicles at home, you pour juice or flavored water into molds and put them in the freezer. Over time, the liquid freezes, turning into tasty frozen treats. And the last one, of course, is the ice cream. Have you ever seen an ice cream and an ice cream machine and an ice cream shop? It works by freezing a mixture of cream, sugar, and flavors while stirring it. This makes creamy ice cream that you can enjoy in a hot day. For real-life appreciation or application and uses, we have preserving food, keeping cool, transporting perishable goods, and making frozen foods. Hello kids, welcome to our day 2. Hope you will learn many things on our lesson for today. This time, let us have an activity time. But before that, please listen to the instruction and the direction of the teacher. So let us answer these questions based on the activity that we have done. The first one, what happened to the ice cube when placed directly under the sun? What do you call this process? What happened to the wet handkerchief when placed directly under the sun? What do you call this process? What happened to the water inside the plastic bag and leaving it in the freezer outside or overnight? What do you call this process? Here we are, it's our day 3 already. Hope you will learn a lot from our lesson today. So what can you see in the picture? So we can see here wood. So what the wood looks like, feels like, and smells like. So let us do this one. Let us light one end of the wood piece using matches or lighter. Use metal tongue or stick to hold the burning wood for safety. So, be careful and don't play with fire. Place a metal can or fire-safe container underneath to catch any ashes or ember. So burning is a chemical reaction that occurs when a substance is combined with oxygen from air, releasing heat and producing new substances. Okay, here are some of the questions that we may be able to answer based on the first slide that we had. So the first one is, what changes do you see when you light the wood on fire? Describe the color of the flames. Are they the same throughout the burning process? Do you notice any smoke? What do you think is causing it? How does the wood change as it burns? Does it look or feel different? What do you see left behind after the wood has been burned completely? Can you describe the ashes? What do you think they are made of? Based on what you observe, do you think burning of wood is a chemical change or physical change? And why? What do you think happens to the wood molecules during the burning process? Can you name any other examples of chemical change that you have seen or heard about? Okay, here are some of the benefits of the chemical changes. The first one is cooking food. Chemical changes occur when we cook food, turning ingredients into tasty meals. For example, when we bake cookies or grill burgers, the heat causes chemical reaction that make the food taste delicious and safe to eat. So that is one of the chemical changes that happen when we cook the food. So it changes when we bake it or grill it. The second one is making new materials. Chemical changes help us create new materials with useful properties. For instance, baking soda and vinegar react to produce carbon